All right, I saw a movie. I saw a film.
What'd you say?
Honeyland.
Oh, you saw Honeyland.
Honeyland.
As did I.
Honeyland. Set it up, Brian.
Honeyland is a dual nominee for Best Foreign Language Film and also Best Documentary, which is a very unusual thing. I don't remember any documentaries being up for Best Foreign Language Film.
Yeah, I'm sure it's happened, but I don't know either.
Honeyland is, where can Honeyland's on Hulu, right? Hulu. You can stream this on Hulu right now. It is directed by, I'm going to have trouble with this, Tamara Kotevska. And, oh boy. Lajubomir.
I think you leave the L off that.
Jubomir Stefanov. That wasn't so bad.
Jubomir Stefanov.
Honeyland is about beekeeping.
Mm-hmm. And so much more.
Ostensibly.
It is told through the guise of the camera, which is shot in POV, first person POV. So it's like you are a fly on the wall. You are there.
Nope, fly on the wall. A lot of flies on the wall.
You're one of the many flies that are on the wall.
So this takes place in Macedonia, we should point out, like almost remote Macedonia, like the farmlands, the hills.
It's the hills. Yeah, it's like the country. It is the country.
Right.
And it's this woman.
The unsettled country.
This very, very old woman.
She's not even that old.
I know. She's like.
She's born in 1964. She's Corolla's age.
She's 59 years old. I mean.
What I'm saying is she looks weathered to the point where I'm like, she looks 80 years old.
Not unlike a mummy. Not unlike a mummy.
She's preserved.
She does.
Yeah. Her name is, I'm going to get this wrong too. It's Hatidze. Hatidze.
I got a gut feeling that is not only wrong, but offensive.
Why? Can I try to pronounce her name?
I don't know. It's my gut feeling, Brian. Okay. I can't.
Hot Tidzy.
Brian.
That's
this is a movie that's very slow burn. It's very quiet. It's like I said, you're one of the many flies in her hut with her and her old mother who is missing an eye and does nothing but whine and eat soup.
She's bedridden. She's like Uncle Joe in Charlie in the Chocolate Factory.
There's many quiet moments, and I don't know about you, Brian, but like I think of the Hollywood elite and the Hollywood snobs that kind of are tastemakers, and
it's kind of like me. You're talking about
Sundance and Oscar and the critics, the critics that like would be thrilled to like meet someone in a bar and tell them that they're a movie critic. Right. Like I would never ever. I hate the idea that I even do movie critiques because it's just kind of weird and gross. I like to just turn people on to movies. That's like my thing. But like I could hear the people that like love that. Like to be like,
becoming erect.
I could, certain shots in this movie and certain like, I heard that.
That's important.
Even though I was watching it by myself in my house, but I could.
You heard the echoes.
You could feel it. You could hear it. So I'm thinking, okay, best case scenario, 30 minutes into this movie, I'm like, this is like one of like to walk a mile in her shoes, to like see, which is great. I love movies. That's why I love movies, to see other walks of life and to see like things that I would never have seen.
Let's set this up real quick because Hatidze, I'm just going to call her that. Hatidze like lives with her elderly mother. She cares for her. She's pretty much bedridden. She lives in a stone shack, it appears. Like this is a stone hut. This is ancient Macedonia.
Yeah.
And she is a beekeeper. She does like ancient methods of like beekeeping.
You get the sense that she almost found the bees, but I guess she does keep them, right? She keeps them in the.
She harvests honey.
She doesn't go for the cabinets. She goes for the stone mountain.
Oh yeah.
She keeps the bees in a mountain.
Yeah, and she'll
behind rocks.
And she'll harvest the honey, leaving half for them, which is sort of a very I guess ancient method. And she will bring it into town, into the bazaar, and sell it for like €10 a jar or something like that.
So there's a great shot over the shoulder of her, like where she's trekked up this enormous mountain to get to this spot where she keeps her bee, and she might get like 10 kilos out of the entire season. She'll get like 10 kilos. What is that? Like maybe 3.5, 4 pounds or something like that. It's not I think it's like 3 kilos per pound or something like that. And this is her life. And then she goes, and her life is just wretched, right? But then she goes into town, which is like a nice little bazaar, and like it's like a farmer's market.
Farmer's market, essentially.
And you can see you see the human side. She's looking for hair dye, even though her hair is always covered. You never see her.
She's trying to impress. The only person she knows is her mom.
She's got crushes. She's talking about men throughout. It's because you think of her as this beaten down older like woman, peasant woman. But she's still
prime, man.
She missed her entire fucking life watching after her mom and these fucking bees, and it's kind of heartbreaking. Yeah. And a dentist has never met her. I don't even know if she knows what one is.
Stop it.
So the movie is like, okay, I'm thinking I'm thinking it's walk a mile in her shoes, and
The mom appears to be 150.
yeah, the mom is very mummified. But then it takes a turn, and we get to know her neighbors a little bit.
No, well, you jumped ahead because then all of a sudden so she has this peaceful, serene life where she's harvesting bees and feeding her mom soup.
It's boring as shit, but it is pretty peaceful. It's pretty quiet.
hiking miles into town, and then one day the fucking family of ships.
It's like they watched The Simpsons and said, "Let's be like that family." Like
This fucking family of gypsies pulls up stakes in a motorhome and starts a cattle farm next door.
and there's just
Like, literally.
miles of nothingness. And they are
Yes. Like amidst these literally like rolling, sprawling, empty hills, and
we learn why. It's because he wanted to steal her beekeeping ways, but like he does it very shittily.
Okay, so let me
and
ask
it's
you this.
comical watching the juxtaposition of how she does it and how he does it. All his kids are getting stung. This movie's one of the best comedies I've seen all year. I didn't realize it. I didn't realize it until just now.
It's not funny until about half hour in. Then it gets hilarious.
It gets really funny for a while. It does. And then I guess it gets tragic, and I can hear all the tastemakers and the highfalutin fucking going,
I didn't. So I took it to be this fucking buffoonish dad comes in, like starts a cattle farm, doesn't know what he's doing, and the cattle are like, he doesn't know what he's doing, and then he like realizes this woman next door is like an expert beekeeper. He's like, hey, I can do that. Because he didn't start out stealing bees. Like he started out like with the cattle.
You
right?
know, but like they needed to live by someone because they knew they were going to have to steal something.
That's probably true. That's ultimately probably true.
Yeah, like we can't live out in the middle of nowhere because then if we don't have neighbors, who are we going to steal from? Like he knew that ultimately he would take something from this woman.
Honestly, and
they have a nice innocent relationship to begin with. You know, they're talking over
friendly,
fires.
And she kind of comes to life when the kids come around. She's like giving them kittens.
That little girl just takes a fucking. We see this little girl. She's like 4 years old, probably. No, she's probably 6, maybe 6, 7. And we see her almost die. I'd say 4 or 5 times. We see her on the brink of death, drowning.
Yeah.
And it's just a static shot.
Doesn't she take like a log to the chest?
That's the first. That's the first piece of abuse that this little girl
Her
takes.
sternum almost gets crushed by a log.
Later, it shows her like in the movie, and she looks like the Elephant Man with bee stings on her face.
I noticed the little cutaway that was never addressed when she had like a black eye from bee stings. Oh, it's brutal.
Every time she's on screen, something horrific is and we sound really heartless for laughing, but really this is a movie you're not gonna be laughing while you're watching it, but in retrospect, I guess it is very funny. I didn't think about that.
Find your film loving friend, your buddy, have him watch it and you watch it and then talk about it afterwards and you will
I didn't realize how funny it was. The dad is when he's trying to do the beekeeping and cussing and screaming at his like little, he's got 2 sons or maybe 3. It's hard to tell.
It's hard to tell. I think there's one older one and then 2 younger ones, I think.
And I mean, it's tragic too. Like they just fucking forgot to feed the cows, or all the calves are dying. And it's just
then the baby's there and there's like bees crawling on it and stinging in the neck. Brutal.
But it is a movie that I won't forget.
But the contrast between her like calm, like zen harvesting, like she's one with nature, and then the fucking frenetic chaos of
it's so great.
just bees everywhere, swarming and stinging them.
The filmmaker spent 3 years entrenched with that community, if you can call it that, a community of like 6. Whereas, you know, a Midnight Family, which we covered a couple weeks ago, like it felt like maybe they were entrenched for a week. Like they needed more time with that family. Because imagine what they would have got if they spent 3 years with that family. If that family was in the ambulance for more than 2 or 3 weeks, God knows.
I know a family that needs an ambulance. They're in Macedonia.
Yes, it is very okay. So Honeyland, check that out on Hulu. But go in. Just no.
It's not as hilarious as we're making it out to be, but in retrospect,
it is
funny.
You just got to wait a while. It's a slow burn,
real slow.
and the threats that the mom is making to the children.
And the dad's such a fucking shyster and just a buffoon.
He's like Homer.
He's Homer Simpson.
He's Homer Simpson.
Skinny Homer. He's skinny Macedonian Homer.
Yeah. All right. Of those two, though, I like American Factory more.
Yeah, that's a little better. Although Honeyland, we're seeing. I was kind of surprised it was up for best foreign film. You know what I mean? Like
This is like
feels like cop out. It's like
this is heroin for the Hollywood elite.
No, really?
Yeah.
Just because they embedded themselves in ancient Macedonia?
And just because it's like, look at us, we're looking at this woman that no one else would ever look at.
No.
But we are like they really like prop like causes like this up on their shoulders. Like, look, we're the ones who are brave enough to shine a light on this brave.
Sure.
But yeah, being up for best foreign language and documentary seems like a bit much. Let's settle down.
It's not that kind of movie. It's not that kind of movie.
All right. An hour and 26 minutes, too. It's not even quite 90 minutes. And they probably could have cut 15, 20.
Felt longer.
But once again, it's kind of,
I could have used more bee stinging.
it is that style where it's just a very passive approach from the filmmaker. They're just shooting POV shots. And that works for something like American Factory where there's a lot of stuff going on. It doesn't work so well. For me, it does. As far as pacing goes, it's much slower, I should say.
For sure.
When there's only
leisurely.
like pretty much 1 to 2 subjects on the screen at any given time.
It was hard to watch the scenes with the mom. I got the idea real quick.
Yeah, where are we going? Yeah, I didn't need to see them feeding each other or her feeding the mom much more.
There was one person feeding the other.